Eric Miskell with EMS Now at the show floor IPC Apex 2025 in the Creative Electron booth this time. Joined today by Mark Wolfe. He is the Executive EMS Advisor. I have that right?
You have that right.
With the IPC. Mark,
correct.
You do a tremendous work within the IPC focused on the EMS community, which is so important to our industry. So,
thank you.
And I know you had the Leadership Summit now 2 days ago on Monday of this week. You were instrumental in organizing that and running that. I think you also presented some data to that. So give us the highlights.
We had 58 EMS leaders from the industry attend. I think we had 60 registered, 58. We had about 60% of them had attended last year, so we had a really nice return rate.
Yep.
But we had 20 new attendees from 12 new companies. So we're continuing to grow community. So a lot of it's about growing community. It's a mix of, try to have a lot of different content, but try to have a lot of different interaction.
Yeah.
And I was, excited. We had an ask to say, can we organize some time the night before so we can keep building community? So that's a success. So we've gone from, we've seen 20% plus growth each of the last 3 years kind of leading this. So we want to keep the momentum going.
Yeah. And I spoke to Audrey McGuckin yesterday. She, of course, led the day.
She opened up for us. She did a great job.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
So, and I heard some good feedback from some EMS that I spoke to who were there, who said it was just a great event.
Get some, people like Audrey, get some of us technical folks a little out of our comfort zone with it. But it all. Yeah.
She has a gift for that, though, right?
It got everyone in the mode of communicating with one another early on, which kind of sets a really good tone for the day.
No, that's fantastic. Now, I also know it's been a labor of love for you over the years. You were, lists of EMS in North America. We've talked about that over the years. Did you do updates on that as well, or?
Didn't actually present the data, talk to it a little bit. We do some regional roundtables that we can talk about. That, we try to keep current with that. But at a high level, we have, one of the things I found is getting a snapshot of who's who in North America was very challenging. And I've been working in this role for about the last 4 years. So really over that period, I've worked to grow more insight into that. And today there's about 1,550 EMS sites in North America. About 1,300 of them are in the U.S.
Okay.
About 900 of those would be headquarter locations. So we're, IPC has recently hired a couple of dedicated resources, one in Europe.
Yes.
Christoph and Thiago are now working with industry intelligence. So we're starting to talk about how do we take that data, to a level that starts approaching what Informa has done and really bring more insight.
Yeah.
But, one of the interesting things that I have shared with a number of people recently is I get asked how much is it changing? And, I would say the high level numbers counts have stayed pretty consistent, but I have seen a lot more companies show up when there's new ones that are owned by someone outside of the U.S. It's kind of an equal split of U.S. and Mexico.
Yes.
Which probably makes sense.
Right.
To both, but definitely seeing growth there. Don't see a lot of churn. There's less than 5% kind of change. It doesn't change overall real fast. But the other area I see more and more emerging is wire harness, PCB, people who have other core businesses that are starting to advertise EMS capabilities as well. So, it is your good description, labor of love, and trying to keep.
No, I remember when you did that, when we spoke about it several years ago. So, and I have to say too, I know IPC used to have a kind of a market research group before. You've always maintained the market research, but it sounds like there's a reinvigoration of it, so to speak. Right? They really elevated because you have a unique position in the industry and a unique outreach and following, so to speak.
Correct. And Chris Mitchell's really used the term doubling down on research. Of really investing in the resources to bring more insight and to do it from a broader ecosystem perspective, not just in these narrow slices. So I'm really excited about that as well.
And what you were saying there about not that much change, it's also we were just talking to a guy about M&A in the industry from Lincoln International, who was speaking.
One of the speakers.
One of the speakers. And he was excellent. He said, since COVID, the activity's really been down. We're starting to see it pick up some more now. And to your point, the international companies that are coming over into North America now, right? And acquiring things from both Europe and from Asia is an interesting trend as well. And so that labor of love is
it lines up.
It's not one and done, right?
No,
you got to stay on it, and that's why I like IPC's position in the industry, what you're known for, especially from the standard side. That every site I visit, we ask, they're doing IPC training there, so everybody's connected with you somehow wherever they are in the world.
Right.
And that's a unique position. I'm glad to see IPC leveraging that more.
Thank you. Fantastic. And it's our intent to certainly do more of that.
Good. Now, you mentioned too the regional roundtables that you're doing, and that's North America.
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
We started early last year. We have the annual event like we talked about at the summit here on Monday. Yeah. But there's a lot of interest in people getting together. And because I had created this database, we started seeing these clusters of companies around some of the major areas. San Jose area, this area, Boston, Minneapolis, Chicago, Detroit. Yeah. And so we started promoting what we called regional roundtable, regional EMS leadership roundtables.
Okay.
And so any EMS related company in a region, arguably within a couple hours drive, would get an invite to come to a venue where we're going to spend about 4 hours together, have dinner, a few drinks, and we market some topics. We've marketed, leveling up your business, marketing up KPIs and benchmarks, but it's really just to get people there and then let them talk about whatever they want to talk about. And, I've used the term co-opetition.
Yeah.
There's a great spirit of just sharing on things that are appropriate to share. So we had about 100 participants last year across, I think, 9 roundtables. A couple of them were repeats from the year before, and everyone has grown. So we're getting the people that have coming back. We are planning 11 of them this year. We actually had one already in the Washington, D.C. area. I don't know if you've heard, there's a few things going on in Washington.
I heard rumors,
But, we had a nice event there where we also had a chance to visit the Hill, and do some things there. But starting in about June or July, we have a schedule we put together for this year. We're going to hit those locations again. And again, it goes back to the comment I made about building community. We want to connect more of the industry with each other. We had 15 of the attendees that were at the summit Monday had their first exposure to something like that through a regional roundtable. So, trying to connect the pieces, and if they've been here, they're more likely then to attend a roundtable and ask others. So, kind of an annuity, I view it as to just build the relationships.
Yeah, no, and they all know it in regions. You know who your competitors are because they are competitors at one level,
they
right?
Do.
But then, so I was going to ask, is there any, you have to get over a little reluctance to maybe open up initially, but then I heard you say it's dinner and drinks, and that
always helps.
That always helps, right? So it kind
of
lubricates them. They know each other. They open up a little bit. And everybody's an adult. They're going to self-regulate, right? You're going to share what you're not giving away corporate secrets.
No. Nobody's talking about getting out of bounds with any of the conversations.
Right, exactly. But there's so many common issues that they're all dealing with, and that networking and sharing, and I love that, and building the community within the EMS.
Yeah, and we try to create some value in it. I share some of the demographic data just in North America and in their region as kind of a incentive. There's some other tracking we do of public company performance, things like that. So trying to have a few other perks involved with being there. But one of the reasons we published a schedule for this year, and it's a little bit to your point, while we haven't seen reluctance within the region to share, we've also had people say, hey, if I knew when you were having meetings in other regions, I may have customers or suppliers I could go visit too, and then I can worry even less about what I'm sharing or not sharing. Exactly. And so, we've started seeing some cross-pollination. We had one in Minneapolis last year where we had someone flying from Pennsylvania and someone flying from Arkansas, and consciously just because they knew it was a different group. So we want to accommodate both. But
so when you do these, what's the cadence on? I mean, how frequent would they be in a region?
In any given region, it's
or do they
turned into an annual?
Okay, more of an annual thing. Okay.
I mean, we're adding. Probably be in Orlando because people are spread out, but we're adding Florida this year.
Good.
To try to build one, and we've got some really good EMS partners there that said they'll help. We have, but the main locations, there was some interest in doing things twice, but by the time you look at the show, you look at how busy life gets, you look at staying out of Thanksgiving through getting into the new year, once a year is the realistic.
Scientific. Okay. Anything within those, or I mean, was it? You don't go around all of them, do you?
I do.
Oh, you do? Okay, so you're the common denominator.
I am. I try to facilitate and keep the conversations, and if something isn't getting started, I try to know enough to be dangerous about most things to at least throw things out people can disagree with, and
then once they get going, just get out of the way. So
get out of the way,
and let it naturally.
And I would say every one we've had will take a little different course because it's really up. If someone's dominating the conversation, obviously part of my job is to try to make sure we've got some balance.
Some sharing.
In terms of new, otherwise, one of the things we're starting to look at is, are there other opportunities that may go with some of the roundtables, like visiting a supplier or maybe a fab or maybe something that people wouldn't otherwise have access to. We've had a few of them start to be in EMS company sites, and they've been just phenomenally open about sharing. And obviously, everyone attending knows what an SMT line, but they've done a really nice job of sharing what they're doing that they think is unique, and different that people can learn from. So they've gained a lot of value out of that. But I'm just thrilled with the kind of the giving, the sharing aspects. And I think people realize there's, for companies that do it well, there's more than enough business to go around.
Oh, absolutely.
And the people attending are trying to do it well and do it better.
Exactly right. And other than if it's not an EMS, is it a restaurant, a hotel? What do you tend to be?
We've had rooms in a hotel and had it catered in. We've gone to some restaurants where you can get a private room. We're sharing some slides. I work really hard to keep any advertising of any sort out of it. We view anyone who's doing actual EMS work as eligible to participate. So we get we've had some larger wire harness companies that also have EMS divisions attend, and because we're all sharing the same problems, but I don't want the group having to worry about customers being in the room or suppliers being in the room, or IPC staff, quite frankly, being in the room promoting. Certainly we use it to share things that are new. I flash a few slides up that says, hey, here's things if you're interested in. Here's the people you can contact. But try to keep it like really about them, people in the room.
They're not being sold while they're having a relaxing networking.
I was in their chairs for long enough to know I didn't. That isn't what I would be there for.
Right, exactly. No, that becomes a detraction, right? So and so I'm glad to hear that. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I knew that you were doing these things, and I didn't quite understand the full scope of it. So I appreciate the opportunity to learn more. And now, where is the list posted? Is that on the IPC site? You said that
it will be very shortly. We published it on Monday with everyone, so we have the handouts there. I don't know that it's made it to the site yet. We have dates and metropolitan areas. We don't necessarily have all the venues set yet, but
they can look there and start planning if they're in the region.
The IPC.org and calendar. Events.
Will then they naturally just get an invite, or
they will if they've been to one before? And I'm building. I'm also trying to build. I am building a list of the contacts.
Good.
And the people who are engaged, and that's actually one of the great success stories here as well. I would say a year and a half ago when I started doing this, I had 50 contacts in the industry through IPC channels that I had confidence were really tied in and engaged. I would say through this, that number is 250. So,
good.
And one of our metrics is kind of, are we are we reaching and getting response from more and more people? So it starts opening up, doing more informal industry surveys, having research panels, having, because again, back to the engagement,
exactly,
building community, that helps. So.
No, that's excellent. I mean, I applaud your efforts and the programs you put in place, because I think EMS is, I mean, I work in an EMS too. You get so distracted with everything else, right? To go sitting with a bunch of competitors sometimes isn't necessarily top of the list, but if you're getting value from it and it's a safe space, so to speak.
I had a handful of people that attended today that, because if they attended in the last couple of years, they got a personal email from me that says, "Where's your registration?" I had got a smile because I had a number that said, "Yeah, I came because you wouldn't stop pestering me." It's like, but I'm glad I did. Right?
Yeah, so, no, that's good to hear. I'm glad, and let's keep talking, because I'd like to keep it advertising and talking and promoting the efforts that you're doing, because I think it's important for the industry.
Yes, thank you very much.
Excellent, Mark. Appreciate you. Thank you.